Division I matchup between Rhode Island Rams and your TCNJ Lions. The starting lineup for Rhode Island is winger number 5, Cameron Sy, winger number 9, Owen Hall, center number 4, Charlie Nelson, defenseman number 14, Riley Gilligan, defenseman number 24, Colin Bissell, and goalie number 30, James Hunt. The starting lineup for your TCNJ Lions is winger number 6, BJ Glide, winger number 8, Colin Hokowski, center number 4, Kyle Gregory, defenseman number 16, Liam Union, defenseman number 91, Nick Stout, and goalie number 1, Nathan Mayer. Now please rise and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem, sung by TCNJ Junior, Holly Paradise.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars rule the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Still there, oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Happy Saturday afternoon to all of you watching on Breakout Sports Broadcasting here on YouTube. I am Matthew Aaron. Thank you so much for being with us for the second game in as many days of the Rhode Island Rams and TCNJ Lions. Some D1 club action for you as hockey season is well and truly underway. Rhode Island in the blue, white with dark blue numbers and blue pants for TCNJ. Last night, the Rams won 4-1. It was their first game of the season. TCNJ is 0-4. Trying to get their first win of the year and break the seal. We've got plenty to talk about in this game, and we'll get through it with Nick Stout, 91, the defenseman, the 6 foot, 165 pounds from Three Bridges, New Jersey, a junior. He tried to get that puck up the wall and out on the backhand, but before we do that, there is a penalty for a hold. This happened behind the play, only 35 seconds in, and so TCNJ is going to get a power play right off the jump. It is Charlie Nelson, number 4, center from Warrenville, Illinois, who took the penalty. And so TCNJ with an opportunity man up right away as this puck is cleared out of play. We'll see where the faceoff is. 2 minutes for holding there for Nelson. And so TCNJ, for a team that started out with those 4 straight losses and last night lost 4-1, opportunity to get going quite quickly. Shane Mulhern, number 11, against Kyle Gregory, number 4. It is cleared beyond. Daniel Yakubu was trying to get that played at the point. He was not able to track it down, cleared all the way back. Albert Scarmato, number 24 for TCNJ. He tried to play it up the wall, and now he's got a chance to rush ahead 2-on-2. He's with Gregory on left wing. closed down well. He passes it back to Jakub. That's Zach Duggan, number 9. He tries to wriggle his way free, but he's caught at the hash marks. He and Jakub will play catch. Down low to that bumper spot. Scarmato tries to stuff it in. That shot was stopped by James Hunt, number 30, the goalie, and Rhode Island able to clear. Hunt versus Nathan Mayer is your goaltending matchup today. 2 different goalies after the 4-1 win last night for the Rams. We'll talk a little more about that story as the game goes on. 2 shots on this power play thus far for the Lions as they try to break out here. Nick Stout is back. That was given away. Logan May, the team captain for the Lions. He tried to, with a little drop pass at his own blue line. It was broken up. And they'll have to try to break the puck out again. It's EJ Glye, number 6. He sends it in. Colin Beazle, number 24. He takes a big hit in the corner. Josh Kushner, number 7. He finds some space in the circle, tries to get in between the hash marks. He lost his balance, and that will allow the Rams to clear. There was nice work from Cameron Sear, the winger, number 5. He is a sophomore from Exeter, Rhode Island. He was able to get that puck out, only 10 seconds left on the power play. May will try to work through center here. A couple of shots on this power play for the Lions, but they haven't really tested Hunt all that much. He's able to leave it there, and the power play is over. So TCNJ 0 for 1 on the man advantage. Ryan Walter will send this in. On net, Hunt will stop it and slow it down. The Rams last year were 23-10-2, had a very good season. TCNJ was 6-22-1 as this rolls to the side of the net. Stout takes the hit trying to make a play along the wall. It was Chase Gaudioso, number 16 there for the Rams trying to push the puck along. Kept in the zone by Nathan Marshall, number 7. He gets a shot away. That's a good first save from Mayer. He didn't see the rebound. Play it back up the wall. D-to-D passing. There's a chance for Dominic Idavea, I should say. That's a tricky one and a tongue twister, but he was able to get the shot in. Marshall there has it, tried to get it back to the point, but that's taken away nicely by Kushner, who will break in. He needs a change, so he'll just fling it into the zone. Good defensive play there from Kushner, and only 1 shot thus far for the Rams, 2:40 into the game. Clock is unfortunately stopped. It's a little bit faster now on our clock. It's 3:40 into the game, I should say. So we'll have to get that sorted. That's a cross-ice feed intended for Johnny Rice, number 15, but he couldn't track that down. 5'8", 180 pounds from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. On the forecheck, it's Matthew Korobko, number 24, sophomore from Aberdeen, New Jersey, 22, I should say. It's been a scrappy game in the neutral zone thus far other than the power play. No real established possession yet for either. Milanomov sends it across. There's an opportunity for Zach Gold, the defenseman. He sent it in, but a nice save there by Mayer, the sophomore from Hamilton, New Jersey. Comes in with an 0-run record, 5 goals against, and .944 save percentage, so he is used to facing a lot of shots. We'll see what happens here as we go along. You're a little more than 4 minutes in. Already an unsuccessful power play for TCNJ, another point shot. That was from Gold, stopped again by Mayer. Again, some room up at the point for these Rhode Island defensemen. That's Damon Valenti trying to get that shot in. 5'9" for head of the Harbor, New York. This is sent all the way down and will be icing. Now we're even at 3 shots apiece with, again, about 4:40 played in the period. They're going to have to, again, look up at the clock because this clock on the scoreboard is unfortunately broken, so something will have to be done about that. But the clock on our scoreboard is correct. Another offensive zone draw to the right of Mayer. That's Max Lockwood, who scored last night, one of 4 goal scorers last night for the Rams, number 28. He couldn't do a whole lot. Kushner is able to flip this in on Hunt. He's got to cover up that rebound, which he does. And there's a little pushing and shoving afterwards. Kushner getting into it. Wynn Thompson as well, big defenseman, 6'1", 200 pounds. But the referees get that sorted out in a hurry. Andrew Ducko, the head coach of TCNJ. Joe Augustine is the head coach of the Rams. Kushner trying to wriggle free, but he took a nice hit for Beazle. He's a good defenseman, Colin Beazle. Last year, played in 24 games as a freshman, ended up only -3, which is not bad when you're a freshman defenseman and facing tough assignments.
I don't know. All right, at this point, I don't think anyone's noticed right now, so.
This is Ryan Walter trying to look up the wall. Kushner played it into the slot inadvertently. Nelson's going to look for some room in the corner. Rhode Island digs it out. They try to get it into the slot, but good defensive position again from Logan May. Center team captain flips it ahead. Kushner, he works his way into the zone, looks for a chance. It went off a stick and over the top. Kyle Gregory, freshman winger from Pequannock, New Jersey, number 4. He tried to get that going in the offensive zone, but Rhode Island eventually able to clear. And now it's back with Sear. We've got another whistle, and there is a hand pass called, and we will get a stoppage. Draw will come out to the neutral zone. Pretty even start to this game. 4 shots for TCNJ, 3 for the Rams. Last night, the score was 4-1. It was quite the entertaining evening, but particularly if you were Ethan May, the goalie from Bradford, Ontario, for TCNJ. Last night, he stopped 52 of 56 shots he faced. He was absolutely fantastic, made some true highlight reel saves. He only got 1 goal in support, though. Glye, he's got room. That's a nice save by Hunt. The rebound's loose in the slot, and a couple of Lions end up wiping out, and it's a 3-on-2 the other way. Marshall on the left wing for the Rams. Trying to go around Stout. That's a good stick check to put him wide and behind the net. Puck got stuck in the dasher for a second. Good defensive play by the Lions to break up a 3-on-2. However, Valenti lost out. Glye going the other way. With Helkowski, it's 2-on-2. Glye going to work his way in. I think that went off the stick of Gold, who got back defensively, and it goes out of play. So a couple of odd man rushes for both teams in the last few sequences, but they've been defended very well. So because of the clock issues that we've had, timing whatever happened, we're going to go off of that clock while all that is sorted out. A point shot. Oh, that redirects off of a couple of bodies and into the net. And TCNJ takes the lead. It was Walter from a long way out. I couldn't exactly tell what that hit on the way in. It might have hit a couple of sticks and skates. But either way, Walter gets the goal, and TCNJ has the lead. Looked like a harmless play in the offensive zone, but that might have gone off of a skate of a defenseman or two. But you'll take that if you're Ryan Walter. And TCNJ gets off to the start they were looking for, and they have a 1-0 lead. Exactly the way Andrew Ducko and company wanted to start this game. When weird ones go in, they count the same as if they're pretty. And Walter off a deflection made it count. Good hit on Korobko right in front of that Rhode Island bench. That was Iadavea, the defenseman who threw the hit. He lost his stick. They're just in front of those boards, but it was sorted out well by the Lions, and now the Rams have iced it. 8 shots to 3. 6 minutes, give or take, with some of the clock issues, but they all could be forgiven. It's early in the season for everyone. Max Lockwood scored last night for the Rams. You had Zach Gold as well, and the captain Shane Mulher, number 11. He scored 2 in that 4-1 win. But Rams are down 1-0 in the early going of this game. We'll see how they respond. Another whistle and a stoppage. And a face-off to the left of Mayer, who hasn't been tested all that much yet. And that's a good start for the Lions, because last night when you give up 56 shots, You want to tighten things up defensively, and that's exactly what they have done. Tim Crane, number 2, back there along with Yadavea. Puck is pinned along the wall. Kushner tried to rip it free for a second. Brian Gabota, another defenseman, tried to keep it alive for a second. Up the wall, Crane, able to flip it only as far as Jakub's shot. That's stopped by Hunt. Scarmato into the slot. There's a chance. Kushner saved by Hunt. He had a nice chance in front. He was alone with some space right in front of the crease. Another point shot goes wide. And Crane will find his way out. Mulhern, who's been quiet, he sent that out in front. He was looking for a tip there from Max Lockwood, who, as we mentioned earlier, scored last night, but the pass was too far in front of him. Just over the line. Nelson did his best to try to save that puck on the right side of the blue line, but it came just over, and we'll get a face-off in the neutral zone. He took that penalty earlier. Referees and the linesmen are going to come and talk. And while they do that, talk a little bit again more about last night if you are just joining us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. TCNJ leads 1-0, 11-4 shots on goal, coming off a 4-1 Rams win last night. As we mentioned, Ethan May got the start, the sophomore from Bradford, Ontario, for the Lions, and he stopped 52 of 56 in the 4-1 defeat. You cannot ask your goalie to do a whole lot more than that. Extremely impressive performance, even in a losing effort. And TCNJ on a very quick turnaround. They played last night and immediately coming back this afternoon, getting off to an early start, an early lead. In the first game between these teams in 3 seasons, they played a couple of games against each other in February of 2023. They were 2-1 and 3-1 wins, respectively, for the Rams. And for TCNJ, getting off to this slow start to the year, lost a couple to Lehigh, lost one to Temple to open their season, lost to Temple 4-3, lost 5-3 and 5-2 to Lehigh. But I don't think Andrew Ducko could have asked for a better start from his team. They responded well after the tough loss last night where they played pretty well. Couldn't get much more from your goalie, but came out on the short end. Tough play behind the net here for the Lions. That was Liam Yeoman, the junior defenseman, was trying to pass it back between he and his defense partner, but a good forecheck from the Rams forced the Lions to ice it. Going to come back the other way. This is, as we mentioned earlier, only the second game of the season for the Rams. These schedules can be a little staggered, so some teams are into the rhythm of their season already, and others are just getting them started. Pulled back to the point there for Riley Gilligan, number 14, from Regalsville, Pennsylvania. 6'1", 170-pound left shot defenseman. Back the other way is Zach Duggan, number 9, freshman from Allentown, New Jersey, put one on net. Stopped by James Hunt, and we will get a whistle. "12 shots on goal already for the Lions, and what's going to end up being a slightly extended first period because of some of the clock snafus. But I don't think the players are necessarily going to notice. Korobko lost the face-off. Yadavea, number 19, will play it along to Crane, and he will try to rush his way up to the red line and backhands in. Danila Nomov's number 12 tried to get in on the forecheck. Now it's taken by Justin Bofiglio, number 33, and now worked back to the point. Yadavea sends it along the kick plate. Crane tries to activate. Once again, Bofiglio tied up with Gabota. Lions clear, but TCNJ back on the puck before it's shot in again by Crane. Both teams will get a change. And then Jakob to send it ahead. Kushner lost it in the neutral zone there to Lockwood, who shoots it in. Kubota is back in a one-on-one duel there. Now it's two aside in that far corner, taken by Lockwood, point to point. This way, Zach Gold shoots, and that deflects up off of a defending Lion, off the pant legs, I think, and out of play. Still that 12-shot-to-4 advantage for TCNJ. Rhode Island hasn't really tested Nathan Mayer all that much. A chance to work their way back into a rhythm in the offensive zone where there hasn't been a whole lot of it. Walter again is that can't inside close for that chance. Only the 5th shot of the game. It was good work by the Rams to get that in front. Good save though by Mayer. Loose just inside the line. Lions poke it out before it's shot back in by Thompson. And Walter will go and get it. Walter trying to skate through that check. He ends up wiping out and turning the puck over. Sear into the slot. He wanted to get it back, but again, Logan May in good defensive position. He seems like he's everywhere defensively. Team captain, nice between the legs pass, intended out in front, and there's a good save from Mayer. I don't know exactly what that went off of, but counts all the same. Gilligan left point, playing it down low. Nelson into the slot. That's loose. It comes on net, and Mayer had to squeeze his left pad. He looked behind himself for a second to see if the puck got underneath that pad, but it did not. And the Rams are putting together a good series of shifts in the offensive zone. That might have been the first time Mayer was in any sort of trouble, having to look behind. That's the worst look for a goalie, is looking behind you to see if the puck squeaked underneath you. But he just had enough strength in his left pad to pin the puck down in the blue paint. Ryan Barlow, number 17, tried to poke it free for the Rams. It's loose in the corner. Case Gaudioso, another big hit. It's been a physical play. It's kicked along by Gregory. It almost got out of the slot. Gregory gets his man to the ice. That was Gaudioso. It's still loose in the slot. Another good chance. That time Mayer makes his best save of the first period. The pressure continues. That shot goes wide from Gilligan. Now the Rams are starting to show what they can do in the offensive zone, but that's taken away by Gregory. It's Duggan in the offensive zone. He puts one on net. Hunt steers it wide. Now the shot count is 13-9 in favor of TCNJ. It was 12-4 at one point. So the Rams are starting to establish the offensive zone quite a bit more. It was the zone that was Joey Greenspoon, the senior from Montreal, who was able to break it up. He works his way in the offensive zone, but he has no help. 1v2. That was Gilligan and Bofiglio trying to take him away, but that is picked up by Korobko. Loose puck back up high. That shot is parried away by Hunt. Gabota got that nice point shot in for the Lions. The point shots are working very effectively right now for TCNJ, trying to get some traffic in front, and of course their goal came off a deflected point shot. Gilligan back for Crane. Try to go with the D-to-D passing. Nomovs has to just poke it into the zone. It came right over the line, but Rhode Island has to regroup to get back on side. It's flipped in on Mayer, and he decides to freeze play. So after a pretty lopsided TCNJ start, they had the early power play, get the goal from Walter. Since then, URI has punched back in the offensive zone, and they've tested Mayer with a couple of good looks. They haven't been able to get any past him yet. Stout trying to clear the zone, he will. Kushner in front of his own bench. That was Mulhern who plays it onto the wing for Lockwood. Captain to assistant captain. He has to circle the edge of the zone. A long point shot save. Rebound, they score. And in front, it was Mulhern who scored 2 last night. He's able to tap that into an open net, and he ties the game for the Rams, and all that pressure eventually pays off. It was good work in the offensive zone from Lockwood and Mulhern, who put a very good set of shifts together, and they capitalized with a goal to make it 1-1 with 7:48 to go in the first period. Rams respond very nicely to going down 1-0. And now back to square one for both teams. Shane Mulhern last year had 14 goals and 19 assists. In his career with Rhode Island coming into the season, 34 goals. You can add 3 to that already in one game and about half a period. Team capped it off to a really nice start to his senior season for Rhode Island. Here's Nelson, working his way in over the line, glide with a good stick check. Attempted return there from Owen Hall, number 9, back to Nelson, didn't connect. It's still loose in the slot. Trouble there. There's a shot from Nelson. I think that hit the skate of Gabota. It's really been all URI over the last few minutes or so. Valenti pushes it into the slot. That's tipped just wide there by Hall. Loose along the board. Sear trying to get all the way in. Sear scores! And Rhode Island takes a 2-1 lead. The sophomore had 15 goals last year. He adds a goal here, and the Rams, in about a minute and a half, from 1-0 down to 2-1 up. And Sear found himself all alone in front of the blue paint, and there's nothing Mayer can do about that. So after a slow start for the Rams, they have quickly counterpunched with 2 really nice goals from Sear and Mulhern, and they now have a 2-1 lead. TCNJ have some work to do after scoring the opener with the man who scored it, Walter, on the puck now. Tried to get it to Korobko, it went off his stick, and Gold will play it ahead. This is Nathan Marshall, number 7 for Bristol, Rhode Island, circling the net, trying to get space and wrap that around on Mayer, but was deflected away. Beazle to Valenti. Well, Mayer got himself into a little trouble there. He didn't know exactly who he wanted to pass it to. Hard work again along the boards. Rhode Island playing more physical now as a point shot is stopped. That was Gaudioso, stopped by Mayer and deflected out of play. 5:46 to go in the opening period, as Rhode Island has scored the last 2 after Ryan Walter scored a deflected goal for TCNJ to open the scoring. This game started with TCNJ putting on a lot of pressure. They had an early power play, as we mentioned, that they didn't convert on, but then they turned that offensive zone time into that deflected goal. But since they scored, Rhode Island have really established the offensive zone well. Kushner tried to play that in the neutral zone, but he lost control. And it's back with Beazle. Across, that was off the skate in the neutral zone of Scarmato, and Rhode Island will have to try again. Thompson trying to send it ahead, but it's off of Logan May into the Rams bench. With 5:14 to go in this opening period. As we mentioned earlier, Shane Mulhern, the senior, he scored 2 goals last night to go along with his goal today, and last year was 3rd on the team, tied for 2nd on the team, I should say, in goals. Only one player had more, and that was 15. It was a very balanced scoring attack for the Rams last season, and when you go 23-10-2, that should seem about right. No one dominant scorer, balanced offense. You get it from all 4 lines. It's what any coach will preach. This is Walter. He lost it in the neutral zone. But the Rams are offside. Well, right back in front of the Lions bench. Andrew Ducko will be happy with the way his team started the game, a little less so about what happened since. They had a 12-4 shot advantage at one point in this game, and it is now 15-14 in favor of the Saints, and now they make it 3-1. Shot advantage starting to pile up, and Sear just got himself another goal. 2 goals for Cam Sear. He found himself all alone in a quiet spot on the ice. In fact, it was Owen Hall who scored, I beg your pardon. Owen Hall scored. He found himself at a quiet spot on ice, number 9. Coming off 2 goals as a freshman, that's his first goal of the season. And it's now 3-1 Rams. Hall found himself alone in all sorts of space. One of the starters on that right wing from West Springfield, Massachusetts. And now Rhode Island has turned all of this offensive zone dominance into goals. 3-1, and TCNJ have to dig deep here. In the last 4 minutes and change of this period, they are going to have to definitely hold off this Rhode Island surge and keep this game where it is at bare minimum. Kushner flips it across. Scarmato puts it ahead, but taken back by Sear. This line scored 2 goals already in this game. Flip to the wing for Nelson. He takes a big hit, and I think they're going to call a penalty on that. They are. That was a rough check along the boards, a little late. And now, to compound the TCNJ trouble, they are going to be shorthanded. And it's May who picks up the penalty. And it's going to be a rough. There are 2 players go into the box, I see. May and Kushner also end the box. Didn't see what Kushner did. That might have been an initial penalty. So May got a hit from behind. Kushner had a rough. So that is a 5-on-3 for a full 2 minutes for Rhode Island as he just got that sorted out. And the last thing the Lions needed at this moment in time was to take 2 penalties. Kushner's was the first one, and then May's was the second. And so Rhode Island with a lot of open ice and 2 minutes to make it work. Lockwood pushes it back to the point. Beazle on over for Mulhern. That shot is stopped by Nathan Mayer. He's going to be tested and has to be sharp here. Beazle down low. Cross ice feed, they score. Didn't take very long into the 2-man advantage. Right to an open player on the back door. And now Cam Sear has his second goal of the game. And it is 4-1 Rhode Island after TCNJ scored the first goal of this game early in the period. The Rams have just taken absolute control and have scored 4 in a row, and they still have a minute 44 of the penalty to May to try to do even more damage. As he mentioned earlier, Cam Sear scored 15 goals last year as a freshman. He was tied for the team lead in goals with 22 points on the season. Sear now has 2 goals today. The sophomore from Exeter, Rhode Island, on a hat trick already. Entering the zone is Hall, who scored earlier. This is Gold, filters it into the slot. That went off of Greenspoon. Down low, Hall makes a nice move into the slot, and they score again. It was Hall who was able to just squeeze that through Mayer. That's 2 power play goals already. That's 2 goals for Hall, and it's 5-1 URI. Well, you wouldn't have known that this game would go in this direction after the start. TCNJ has only had 2 shots on goal since it was 12-4. It's now 20-14 URI, and 5 have gotten past Mayer. Not a whole lot he can do on a lot of it. Certainly on a 5-on-3, your goalie has to do everything he possibly can. Even that might be enough, but the passing on the power play for the Rams has been excellent. And now this game, which started so well for the Lions after only giving up 4 last night, they gave up 5 in this opening period, and there's still about 3 minutes to play. Lions will have a response. There's no question about that, but tough with just the onslaught and the way this went here in this back half of the first period. So that will go D to Glide as the Lions try to just establish some offensive zone time, get some energy going, pick their head up. Gaudioso tried to send it out into the slot before that's taken back by Helkowski. He'll play it off the neutral zone boards and get it in. Haven't mentioned James Hunt's name in a long time. He was facing a lot of rubber early, but he's only faced 2 shots in what you'd have to say is about at least 10 minutes, maybe more. He might face one here. Helkowski left wing, stops on a dime, shoots, it's blocked. That was Gilligan who got in the way. And that's passed up back towards the point, but it's split. Stout and Jakob, the 2 defensemen. Again, they don't clear. Loose in the slot for a second. I think that puck came out of the zone. It did. It's offside. Bofiglio tried to save it, but the puck just came over the blue line, and that gives the Lions a momentary breather. Kubota will look ahead. Will flip in. Hunt with a rare touch. Left it there for Thompson. That's Danila Nomovs, who will try to swing it along the boards under little pressure. And Rhode Island able to get it out before it's shot back in again. Less than 90 seconds to go in the period. Thompson again. Nearly turned over just inside the line. It was. This is picked up by Duggan. He shoots, and Hunt makes a rare save. That's the 15th shot for the Lions in this period. But you wouldn't know it based on the way that Rhode Island has dominated the territory in the last 10 minutes or so, not just with the goals, but with the shot count. Off the face-off, Valenti. He'll look up the wall. Kind of between the legs pass there. Trying to find Lockwood, couldn't connect, loose in front. Mayer makes a save. There's another chance and another goal for Rhode Island to make it 6-1. They just are pouncing on every single opportunity that they have been given. And give them credit for taking advantage of the chances they have. And it's 6-1 with still 55.2 left in the period. Really incredible stuff from the Rams. You have to give them all the credit in the way that they've been fighting and the way that they've been pushing. But some of the goals, just a little bit too much open ice in front of the blue paint. Here's another chance. Mulhern looking for another, and the shot was deflected by Jakob over the top. Still loose in the slot. Again, Mayer makes a nice save, kicked away in front. He stopped a couple of loose pucks there. And it's not cleared. Kept in by Gold, and I think we're going to have more penalties here. It might be one each that ends up going. There is about 30 seconds to go in the period, and let's see. Oh, it's going to be coincidental minors. Gregory picks up 2 for roughing, as well as a Rhode Island player. So we'll go 4-on-4, which will carry over into period number 2. Jakob picks the puck up. He'll send it ahead. And was lost into the skates there of Duggan. And it's back with Valenti. 16 seconds to go in the period. It's Hall working his way in on a hat trick himself, and Duggan throws him to the boards. You can hear that way to thud. Gold will lob it back in, and this period mercifully comes to an end for the Rhode Island Rams. However much time was accidentally added to the clock, Rhode Island adds a couple of goals. 6-1, they have the lead after the first period, after TCNJ scored the opener. We'll have more in the second period in just a little bit. We are back for the second period here at TSAI Field House in Lawrenceville. URI leading TCNJ 6-1. What a change of tune that was from the start of the first period to the end of it. TCNJ scored early. A Ryan Walter point shot that deflected off of Justin Bofilio, the forward, and then it was 6 straight goals after that for the Rams. And we'll see what the second period looks like. Nathan Mayer is still in the game after having started to giving up 6. A lot of those weren't necessarily his fault. 23 shots to 15 in favor of URI. There are still about a minute 25 of 4-on-4 to go as Corey Sabo as well as Kyle Gregory are still in the box for coincidental minors for roughing. Sabo scored the 6th goal of the game, by the way. Number 21, we weren't able to get the identification on that immediately, but we have tackled that for you. Sabo this year is a senior. He scored 6 goals and 6 assists last year, and he has added to his tally in the early going. Matthew Aaron, thank you so much for being with us here on your Saturday afternoon in Breakout Sports Broadcasting here on YouTube. Plenty of games for you to watch every single weekend. There's a Rider game coming up later tonight. We hope you all tune in for. See what we get in this second period, which should be 20 minutes. If you missed it earlier, one of the clocks in the beautiful rink here at Lawrenceville TSAI Field House, it stopped, and almost nobody noticed unless it was our lovely overlord Carollo. And since no one noticed, we just went by the clock on the scoreboard. So this first period was probably 22 to 23 minutes long, not 20. And that extra time might have helped the Rams score an extra goal or two. Either way, here's May, the captain for the Lions. He shoots it off of the stick of Colin Beazle, the defenseman, and that puck goes out of play. Beazle, the 6'2", 192 right shot defenseman from Ronkonkoma, New York. Last year, Beazle, as a Frenchman, only had 2 assists, but he played in 24 games. So he's certainly going to have a bigger role in the lineup for Joe Augustine and the Rams this season. We've already seen it with the way it's worked this season, starting the game here tonight. Here he goes against his opposite number, Albert Scarmato, number 24, down in the corner. Now it's a 2-a-side battle as Sabo tries to flick it out of there. Duggan to work. Sabo was able to retrieve. Scarmato, he's in a battle with Sabo, who feels like he's everywhere. Every time he's on the ice, number 21, he gets himself into very nice positions in the offensive zone to flex down in front. Mayer has to just kind of jab it away. Duggan trying to get it up the wall. This forecheck for Rhode Island has gotten better and better as the game's gone on. Gilligan tries to get it in down low. It's picked up here by Ryan Barlow, number 17, and he's got a lion on top of him and Duggan, but the offensive zone pressure continues for URI. We've seen a lot of this over the back half of the first period and beyond. That's deflected in front. Mayer made the save. He makes another save there on the shot in the slot from Barlow. I think he lost his stick. He was hoping the referees were not going to call a penalty, and they did not. As the Rams clear, Duggan lost it in the neutral zone, and then he takes a big hit. Wanted a penalty call there, Andrew Ducko. He was not going to get one. It got feisty towards the end of the period, of course. TCNJ was 0 for 1 on the power play. They had one very early in that first period. Rams were 2 for 2. They had 2 full minutes of 5-on-3. They scored about 15, 16 seconds into it, and then on the ensuing 5-on-4, they scored on that one too. And after an icing, we will get a draw down in the TCNJ defensive zone. Last night, as we mentioned, it was a 4-1 win for the Rams, and this is the first meeting between these two schools in a couple of seasons. It was Ethan May, who made 52 saves on 56 shots, was absolutely excellent. Hope you were all watching last night. And one of the reasons why that game was as close as it was, this puck came over the line offside. Tim Crane tried to salvage it, but he could not. And now Scarmato sends it ahead, but Crane is back to retrieve, and he will give it to Dominic Iadivea. And we get another hand pass and a stoppage. 3:16 into period number 2. The shots are 25-16 URI. And for Nathan Mayer, sophomore from Hamilton, New Jersey, played at TCNJ D2 last season before coming to the D1 team this year. There isn't really a whole lot he could have done on a lot of those goals. He was trying to do everything he can to make saves, but there unfortunately were blue sweaters all alone in front. He looked for that puck on a sharp angle shot that went through everybody and came to the near wall. Johnny Rice, number 15, sends it along. He gets it back out in front, and that's a nice save by Mayer. Good work from him. And there's going to be a penalty in the offensive zone here against the Rams. Looked like there was a trip in the midst of all of that. And it is going to be Reese who goes to the box. Even when you're up 6-1, coaches absolutely loathe offensive zone penalties. Very little drives them quite as crazy as that. Maybe icing on a power play would be up there, but certainly taking an offensive zone penalty, even when you're up by 5, is not advisable. Second power play of the game for the Lions. They had a couple of shots on their first man advantage. Scarmato trying to play it out of the corner. That was Duggan who gets it back to the point. Jakob thought about a couple of shots. Now he shoots, but it went off of a few skates in front. That is Max Lockwood, number 28. Couldn't get it out. Gregory kept it in nicely. Kyle Gregory. Gibson along the wall. Puts it in front. Hunt makes the save. He was looking for a tip from Scarmato in front of the net, but Hunt was able to square up to it well. Face-off 1. And that shot goes over the as again, it comes in front. Another good save by Hunt. Gregory gets to it, and that just went on the wrong side of the post. It was a decent look there for Gregory in front of the net, but he was just not able to get that on target. The 5'8 freshman from Pequannock, New Jersey. There is 1:09 to go on the power play. Duggan shot wide on a nice zone entry, but the puck bounced to Sear. Cam Sear, who scored a couple of goals already in this game, as we mentioned in the first period. Time for the T lead in goals a season ago with 15, and he's got his first couple of the season today. Gregory now will try to sort this out. Being hacked at there by Owen Hall, but he's able to get this puck into the zone. He was onside, into the slot. There's a chance, and that one for Scarmato goes just wide. Jakob circling the net. There's 34 seconds on the penalty still to go. Set in front. Scarmato was the intended recipient of that. Jakob back along. Oh, Scarmato couldn't take it with him. Nick Stout trying to play it down low. Defenseman activating. High in the play there against Beazle. His opponent on the blue line. Glide through traffic. Deflected off a couple of bodies. Scarmato with 10 seconds to go on the power play. In the corner. Being held. Being tackled. That should be a penalty, but there's no arm up. Either way, it's back with Jakob, who's going to try to get it down low before the power play is over. It is over. As Rice is out of the box, still a chance, and another shot got blocked in front. Kushner, he's got a lot of space. Good save and a rebound. And how did Hunt stop that? I really don't know how he stopped that. He is full snow angel. He's on his stomach. He might have been on his back when he made that save. There was a lot of traffic in front. The only goal the Rams gave up was off of a defender in front. Hunt absolutely acrobatic and alacritous in making that save. And it may have been harder because I'm not sure how much he could see of the puck with all of those bodies in front of him. So give credit to TCNJ. They put on a good amount of pressure here on that power play. And then on the shift right after it ended, but they weren't able to break the seal. And credit to Hunt, who has made 19 saves on 20 shots. That last one was by far his best. And Beazle definitely helped him out with that in terms of getting in the way of probably a better shot, but goalies have tough time tracking deflections. And that was a really wicked one. One of those could go anywhere type of situations, but Hunt did a really good job to keep his eye on that. And it's hard for Hunt to do, not necessarily after a power play in which he faced some rubber, but in the back half of that period, like, he faced almost no shots. Turnover just inside the neutral zone. Glide tried to get it to Kushner, but the two weren't quite on the same wavelength. And a bouncing puck picked up by the Rams in the neutral zone. Marshall trying to work his way in. Stout ends up falling over. Audioso is going to be able to track that down. Yadavea will try to do himself. That's a nice little pass there from Barlow to send Rhode Island on the breakout. It was Walter who took out Gaudioso right down in front of us on these near boards. Stout in a stick duel there with Barlow. Stout pushes it along. May back in defensive support. Start to the game, he was everywhere, Logan May, in his own zone defensively. This puck off the top of the glass and out of play. A little more than 7 minutes into the second period. And for TCNJ, after everything that happened in the back half of that first period, giving up 6, couple on the power play, this is the game completely getting away from them. Win the second period, keep things tight, play just fundamentally sound hockey to the system that Andrew Ducko wants them to play, and that's something you can build on for the future. It's still very, very early in the season. There is a lot of hockey to be played, and you can't let a game like this get you down. They've been close, and all of that is a big-time hit. Greenspoon got crunched. Opportunity, good save there, Mayer. The rebound is in. No, it isn't. It is in the net, but it's going to be ruled a kick. It went in off a skate, so it's not going to count. That started with a huge hit in the neutral zone. Led to a 2-on-1. It was Reese who ended up putting the puck into the net, but he put it into the net off his skates, and the referees were immediately in position to say that was kicked in, and so it is not going to count. Mayer made a very nice save on the initial chance, and then by the second crack, Reese put it into the net, but it didn't end up counting because of what it went in off of. But that started with a huge hit by Rhode Island in the neutral zone, and it immediately turns into a 2-on-1. This game, in moments, has been very physical, and you saw evidence of that there. Valenti will send it into the offensive zone for the Rams. Marshall. Now, Mulhern was standing in front of the net. Marshall had just gone off on a change. Flipped up the boards by Gabota. It's kept back in at the point with Gold. And now it is Mulhern who tries to get it back up to a point shot. That was from Valenti, but it got blocked. TCNJ stacking up bodies in their defensive zone well, but they don't clear. Jakob up the wall. Held in by Mulhern, but we get a whistle. And there was, I think, and the puck went off of somebody on the bench, and we will get a stoppage. And with 11:34 to go in the period, I think there might also be a penalty here. It's Beazle who's going to the box. I couldn't tell exactly what the penalty was for. It might have been too many men, I think, is what it was. Sloppy change. So a second power play for TCNJ in this period. Their first one, they generated some nice looks but couldn't put it in the net. See what they can do here. Let's get the little things to execute well. Not only did the puck go off of somebody in the bench, it went off of an extra player on the ice. But now the other way, it's Hall shorthanded. Hall, he's hauled down. That's a penalty. It's an easy one. And so that power play only lasts 18 seconds. Not a whole lot Gregory could do on the odd man rush there. And so that's his second minor penalty of the day, but it's probably one he's happy to take considering Hall, who already has 2 goals, was bearing down on goal. And so we're going to have 4-on-4 for the next minute 42, and then it'll be a very abbreviated power play for Rhode Island. Even in a game that is 6-1, that is a smart penalty to take there from Gregory. Last man back, sometimes you have to take one for the team, as he did right there. Back up high, 4-on-4. That was Ziadavea, whose shot is stopped by Mayer through traffic. Yadavea, 6'2", 205 right shot defenseman from Westbury, New York. Senior this season. Played 26 games last year with 3 points, all assists. About 9 minutes into the second period, it is 6-1, Rhode Island. No scoring in the second period. All the goal scoring happened in the first. Ryan Walter scored a deflected shot for TCNJ, and then the Ram avalanche happened after that. On a clean breakout pass there on 4-on-4, but it's going to roll on net. Almost did. Gold took it off the stick of his goalie. Hunt was prepared to freeze that. But Gold had it covered. But it's now a minute to go in this 4-on-4 where Rhode Island can reset. This is nice moves from Lockwood in the neutral zone. He looks that towards the net. That was, in fact, Crane, who looked like Lockwood because of how quickly he moved up the ice. Tried to return that to Nelson, the center, but it ended up getting to Mayer first. There have been moments of really smooth breakouts today for Rhode Island. Made it look so easy and clean and crisp, getting the puck out of their own zone. Gold tried to send it ahead. Duggan picks it up. Right in front of his bench, he'll chip in. Crane will send it on to the wing. Could be another possible 2-on-1. It's sent in front. A backhand shot. Good save by Mayer. That one was on Marshall, who found himself all alone in a little 2-on-1 with Gaudioso. So give credit to Nathan Mayer, who, again, had 6 go by him in the first period, but he's shown a lot of toughness in making some good saves in this period. That's exactly what you want, especially after what we saw Ethan May do last night for TCNJ when he was superhuman in a 4-1 loss. The power play is now on, but it is very, very short-lived. We'll see if the Rams can do anything with it. Gaudioso stopped by Mayer. The shot was partially deflected there by Gabota. Mayer's looking for it. It's behind the net, and now it's in the corner. This will be picked up by Duggan, who flicks it out of the zone. And now, all penalties are done. We are back to full and even strength. That is the first unsuccessful power play of the day for the Rams. 2 for 3. TCNJ is 0 for 3. Well, Figlio send it down low. Rams try to set up in the offensive zone here. That was Nomofs, who was positioned behind the net. Crane's got to go all the way back in his own zone to chase the puck. Walter plays it back into the zone. Crane will try to go get it. Crane last year, 3 points, a goal and 2 assists in that shot. Stopped by Mayer. He lost the rebound. It's loose in front for a second. It was Nomovs and Reese who got that puck towards the net. This is sent in, and no icing. It was off a deflection. Korobko sent it, and I thought that might be icing. He didn't have the red line. Either way, offensive zone set up. Trying to send that through to Kushner, but didn't connect. It was Greenspoon a little frustrated there. Loose in the slot, and that's poked on net. Good save there by Hunt. Alex Gibson, freshman from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, did a very good job of getting himself trying to poke shot on net. And now Lockwood sends it in. 31-21 URI is the shot advantage. And with 7:40 to go in the second period, this has been comparatively quiet compared to a very lively first. Mulhern, captain for the Rams, drops it back to the point. That's a decent move there by Gold, but it was broken up, and Logan May comes the other way. Looking for support, but he had to wait for it, and therefore he couldn't enter the zone clean, and now Stout's going to have to just fire that in on net. Easy save right off the pads for Hunt. That's tipped towards the net, but wide by Kushner. He will try to tack it down against Valenti. But Valenti's got it in behind, and a little time and space to pass it ahead. Mulhern will look ahead to the wing for Corey Sabo. Stout tries to clear. That was knocked down. It's loose in front. Mulhern with a chance. Deflected. Nearly opportunity. And that one does go in. It was a little bit of a loose puck there just inside the line. It looked like It had all been taken care of by TCNJ, but that loose puck eventually found its way to Cam Sear, who has himself a hat trick. It's a little bit of fortune off that bounce. Mayer tried to make the save. He think he got a good chunk of it, but not all of it, and URI now leads 7-1. And Sear, as we said last year, had 15 goals tied for the team lead. He's got 3 goals today. He has been excellent, and the Rams are up by 6. It's been a very decent period defensively for the Rams, certainly for them, but also for the Lions too. And that's a tough one to give up when it looked like they had a chance to clear the zone and they just couldn't get the puck out. Beazle overskates that. He'll send it along the wall. Sear couldn't collect the puck. Another shot got blocked. That was from Liam Yeoman. Fly into traffic, but Nelson was in good defensive position. It's this line again, the line that started Hull, Nelson, it's here that's been excellent. That's sent through the blue paint and wide by Nelson. Taken by Helkowski, but he doesn't get it out. Beazle tries to get it in front, and that is a nice save off of a Nelson half shot by Mayer. 27 saves on 34 shots for him, and 21 saves on 22 shots for James Hunt. .62 goalie James Hunt from Kingston, Rhode Island. Playing in his first game of the season, as we said, the second game of the year for Rhode Island. Season just started with this 2-game set. TCNJ was looking to avoid falling to 0-5 on this young season. They're going to have to do something truly miraculous in order to come back here, but I have to say in this second period they've given up a goal, but they've played a good brand of hockey, very structured in this second period, and that is something to build on, not just for the third period in the future. There's a broken stick on the ice as Rhode Island shoots it in. It was a broken stick for a Rhode Island player. Greenspoon has it. Going to try to lug his way out of the zone. That forecheck, again, has been really good. This Barlow and Bofiglio did a good job of putting pressure on. Korobko had a little trouble making it through the neutral zone, and again, forced to give it up. Yadavea will shoot in. 5 minutes to go in period number 2. Knock him up the wall. Kushner unable to settle that. Thompson. He's got it back. As Kushner tried to dance his way into the zone, but it just seems like there's a blue sweater almost everywhere. They hunt in packs. They forecheck in numbers. And defensively, it just seems like there's always somebody back. Duggan trying to create it on his own. That's a nice save by Hunt. Duggan, the freshman from Allentown, New Jersey, he was playing hard. There's a penalty coming up. That's going to be an illegal stick check on number 15, Johnny Reese. So he's just picked up his second penalty of the day. I was about to mention that Duggan, for his club team last year, he scored 71 points. So a good player, Duggan. You can see that with the skill on the offensive zone right there as he tried to set up an opportunity for a goal, but that shift ends up leading to a power play, the 4th of the game for TCNJ. 4:17 to go in the second period. These power plays have generated some looks. Let's see if this one can generate a goal. You have to say it's probably due one. The way that they've been moving the puck, they've been getting into nice positions. They've tested Hunt on a couple of these looks. See if they can figure one out here. Kushner's got the puck in some space along the right side. Fly back up top. Walter, who has the goal, sent it down low. A little miscommunication there with the forwards, but the Lions able to track it down. May along the far wall. Walter just did settle that, has to fling it wide to prevent the puck from going out of the zone. Cleared up the wall and out. Nice work there from the Rams to get that puck out of there. It's Gaudioso once again who did the hard work. Case Gaudioso from Morristown, New Jersey, so not all that far away. Here's May. Smooth skating through the neutral zone. Ran into some trouble. The puck is loose, and it's picked up by Barlow, who pushes it over the line. There is a minute 10 to go on the power play for TCNJ, their 4th of the afternoon. Gley has it. Nice cross-ice feed. Gley waiting for the traffic to clear. He sends it down low, Kushner. Gley, they try to get the traffic set up in front. Walter with a shot. That goes just wide. Big rebound. Hunt was out of position, and we've got another whistle. Nice puck movement there. I think that ends up having the net off its pegs. That's why we had the play stopped. So while the referees fix that, with 3:11 to go in the period, it's just a small difference between the clocks this time as opposed to the first period, but that's okay. As we mentioned in the first period, it's early in the season for everyone, including the clock operators in this beautiful facility, TSAI Field House. If you have never been, it is a wonderful place to play and a wonderful place to watch a game. We're happy we get to bring these to you. Gregory shoots. He hit his own man in front. That was Gibson, who was in unfortunate position. Almost came to Scarmato in front in the slot. Jakob, as the second power play unit comes on now for the Lions. A shot is stopped there by Hunt from Duggan, and Hunt able to freeze it. Hunt's been impressive today as one of the extra goalies for Rhode Island, and in some ways as a goalie, from all the ones that I've talked to, it's sometimes harder to play in games where you're not facing a ton of shots as opposed to the ones where you can get into rhythm because you're seeing a lot of rubber. And there were stretches in this game where Hunt saw maybe 2 to 3 shots in 12 minutes, and that is hard to maintain a rhythm and a focus. Jakob's shot that deflects on way. There's a chance for Scarmato, but again, Hunt got his stick to it. Kind of a half poke check there. 15 seconds to go on the power play. Jakob's shot was blocked. Duggan waits in. Another save right off the pads of Hunt. This building, you could hear the sound of a puck going off a pad cleanly like that. Another chance was stopped, and now on the other way is Lockwood. And it's dug down into the corner, and TCNJ is 0 for 4 on the power play. Again, decent looks to be sure, but unable to convert on any of them. Crane. Now to Sabo, who works his way up. Right wing trying to get by Jakob. He did get by him. Trying to go to the net. That shot deflected on in. Mayer lost his stick, but Jakob did just enough to alter that shot. Duggan the other way. Perhaps a 3-on-2. He floats that one towards the net, and Hunt will freeze it with 1:41 to go in the period. Certainly a better second period for TCNJ than the first. Obviously, when you give up 6 goals, that's not a good look, of course. But in terms of just their overall play defensively, drawing penalties, getting themselves into some opportunities with the man advantage, it looks a lot better. They've given up a goal, but this is much more like the hockey I think they want to play going forward. And as we mentioned, this is a very long season. They've got a long way to go and a lot of growth going on. We have 90 seconds to go in the period. Rhode Island in the offensive zone. Sear on a 3 goals already. A little bit of miscommunication in the zone there. That was Gold from the blue line, not on the same page with his forwards there. Again, it's this 4-5-9 group of Nelson, Sear, and Hall that has been just excellent. 5 of the 6 goals have been scored by this line today, this starting group, and it's just been going from the jump. They've got a lot of chemistry, and you can watch them do things like this. That shot goes just wide. Might have been partially blocked by Mayer. 53 seconds to go in the period. That point shot from Gold was off the glove of Mayer. Get in on a backhand. That, too, was stopped by Mayer. That came off of the stick of Nelson. So more pressure for the Rams here. This good line as another duel sends a couple of players to the ice. That was Greenspoon and Hall. And the puck deflects out of play with 35.7 to go in the period. That was defended a lot better by TCNJ. You've got good stick-on-stick. You've got man-on-man defense where there just doesn't seem like there's as much empty space on the ice, so much open ice as we saw in the first period where a lot of goals were happening. Way too much open ice in that Royal Road slot area, the home plate area, depending on what term you want to use. There was a lot of open space there in the first period, much, much less so in the second. Kushner trying to push his way into the zone against Valenti. Sent into the high slot. May tried to settle it. It was deflected by a Rams stick before it got there. A couple of Rams overskated. A couple of Lions collide. Barlow works in. Almost through everybody. He tried to no-look backhand that back into the slot, but there weren't any light blue sweaters there. Kushner to May. He's just going to try to flick that one on net. It deflects wide, and the second period comes to an end with the Rams leading 7-1. TCNJ played a better defensive period, but they gave up the goal to Sear to complete his hat trick. We'll be back for the third period right after this. Third period about to get underway here. Breakout Sports broadcasting from TSAI Field House in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. 7-1 Rhode Island. Only one goal in that second period. That was Cam Sear's hat trick goal. Otherwise, it was a pretty clean period from TCNJ. Kind of like yesterday. They were down early after the first two periods. We played a much better defensive game in the final two. Came in a 4-1 defeat. See what it looks like here in the third period. As this is Colin Beazle. He will set that up from the blue line. Gets up to Max Lockwood, one of the assistant captains. That came back towards the net from Kushner. Good push from him. TCNJ scored the first goal of this game from Ryan Walter. It was a deflected goal in the first. They had the lead, but after that, it was 6 straight goals for the Rams in period number 1, and then 1 goal in period number 2. And it's 7-1. 38-28 are the shots on goal in favor of Rhode Island after 2 periods. Matthew Aaron with you on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. There's a turnover in front. Sear looking for his 4th goal of the game, which he gets. Off a tough turnover in front of the net. Sear just pounced on an absolute gift, and he is able to put it away to make it 8-1 Rhode Island. Well, he's got a hot stick today. There's no question about that, and he pounced on a loose puck in the defensive zone. TCNJ trying to clear, just whiffed on it, and Sear goes backhand up top. And in it goes for the 8th goal of the day, and he scored 4 of them. A heck of a game there for Cam Sear. That's covered up by James Hunt in goal. Nathan Mayer still in the game. He faced 39 shots and given up 8 goals. There's not a whole lot. He certainly couldn't have done a whole lot on that situation. Well, after a very good second period from TCNJ in a lot of regards, that's not the way they wanted to start the third. Deflects on net, Mayer makes the save. It's that big line out again. He's able to hold that one. That was Nelson and Sear standing out in front of the net before Mayer able to hold. Some ways, you're TCNJ. It's dispiriting to watch this game go the way it has against a Rhode Island team that, of course, has been super impressive. There's no question about that. And some of the work that TCNJ has done has been pretty good. I like the second period that they played defensively. And a couple of the goals they've given up are just individual errors, small mistakes that compound into bigger ones. Plays offside. Trying to enter the zone. .149 into period number 3. Start to look towards coming games for both of these teams. This is the first 2 games of the year for Rhode Island, and they'll take these every day of the week in their first year in the ECHA, a big conference. They were in the SCHL last year. They're going to be heading for 2 games, Villanova at home next week, and after that they will play Towson and then Lehigh and then Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Their next handful of games as they try to build on a great start to this season with 2 wins. Certainly you can't do much better than being up 8-1 in the third period, as is the case here for TCNJ. They'll be at William Patterson next Friday, and then they will host William Patterson back here next Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll be able to see that game on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. They've got more games to come after that against Drexel George Mason. A little home and home there. And then NYU comes for the end of the month with a home and home as well. And then we'll make a trip to Villanova in early November. Reese is back on the puck. He sends it along the wall. Milanovs is able to send it ahead. Well, Figlio will send it in. Only 5'4", but he doesn't play like it, that's for sure. Gibson able to poke that ahead and out of the zone. And again, for TCNJ, do the best you can in winning this period and build for the games to come next week, even though they've been off to a pretty slow start to this year. Again, unless they have 7 goals in them in this period, they are going to fall to 0-5. Towards Yeoman will try to clear. Couldn't get that beyond Lockwood, who ends up shooting it in. Well, Gibson, he'll look ahead. Tried to pedal along for Korobko. Take that away from Yadavea. And now Greenspoon will backhand it off the side of the cage. Picked up by Yadavea again. And back over for Crane as Rhode Island moves their way through. 41 shots to 19. They are 2 for 3 on the 41 shots to 29, I should say, for the Rams. They are 2 for 3 on the power play. TCNJ is 0 for 4. Loose in the slot. Well, Korobko tried to clear it, and he missed a couple of times, just trying to get stick on puck. And that's cleared by TCNJ into their own bench by Gibson. Get a face-off down in the offensive zone for the Rams. 4:24 gone by in this opening period. Thank you again for being with us in Breakout Sports Broadcasting. We've got more games tonight from Riders, so stay tuned for that. All available on the YouTube channel. And many more games to come as the season is in full swing. Rhode Island has iced it. Let's come all the way back down to the offensive zone for TCNJ. Just trying to build on something as time progresses. There's definitely a lot to be excited about in those early results, even in losses. Lost 4-3 to Temple, 5-3 to Lehigh in the first game, and then 5-2 in the second game. And then last night, it was 4-1, relatively close, and then this one, not so much. This Rhode Island team is going to be a problem to face against in the ECHA, a conference with a bunch of schools, including their conference opener next week against Villanova, that little home and home that they're 2 games, I should say, that they will play at home. They will play Villanova on the road later in the year. That shot is stopped by Mayer in front, not cleared. Sear flex over the top. Hall will try to find it. .14:30 to go in the third. That pass is too far for May. This should be icing, and will be. Just everything feels, sometimes in the offensive zone for TCNJ, and even breaking the puck out in a situation like this, just a step or two off. Their defensive game definitely has tightened up, and both of the goals we talked about, Sear for his hat trick, and then the 4th goal he scored today, were both just mistakes in their own zone. Couldn't clear a puck, just whiffing on a clearance. And those, at the very least, though frustrating as they may be, are correctable mistakes. And the hope for Andrew Ducko is that these are mistakes that can get worked out with time. Beazle will send that along. Help from Barlow down in the corner. Gaudioso gets after it. It's into the slot. That's a nice from Glei in the slot for the Lions to prevent a possible scoring chance. Up the wall, Smith. Jack Smith, freshman from Neptune, New Jersey, number 12. Glei, unable to do a whole lot with it. Smith kicks it to his tape, sends it into the slot. It's a bouncing puck that Hunt decides to cover up. As we've played about 6.5 minutes into this third period. Long time for TCNJ to lick their wounds and try to get back at it next week, which they're going to have to do. There is stuff to build on. Certainly what we saw yesterday from Ethan May, if you were watching that game, is a huge building block for this team, although you can't ask your goalie to make 52 saves most night. That's not going to be effective. But there is work that this team can do, and there is some promise, as that a shot is blocked away by Hunt off of Gibson from the point. Again, it was Walter who scored early for TCNJ off a deflection in front. They led 1-0. They started this game out really well. First 10 minutes or so, they were dictating the terms. They had a 12-4 shot advantage on Rhode Island, and then by the end of the period, it just all fell apart. And then it got much worse after they took 2 penalties at the same time. So he gave them the Rams a 2-minute 5-on-3. They score on that, and they score on the ensuing 5-on-4 power play as well. Duggan plays it back. Picked up here by Valenti. Swings it along. And now Gold. He'll look his way up the wall. In space here for Johnny Reese. Also in the second game of a back-to-back, you can kind of manage the minute load for some of these big players. Get some guys who don't get a ton of time, a little bit of extra run. That's in the case of both teams, as it should be said. About 12 minutes to go in the third period. Here's Gabota on the right wing. Shuttles it in on the backhand. That's a tough play for Hunt to make, but he's able to make it. He's been really good today, too. James Hunt, first start of the season. As we mentioned, only the second game of the year for Rhode Island, and both goalies were particularly impressive. Nicholas Mariangolo won the decision last night 4-1, and then you see James Hunt playing really well as the second option. He gets that one off of his glove. Another deflected shot. Gabota put it towards the net. And Mulhern tries to play it along. Reversed back along by Yeoman. That is held by Nathan Mayer, sophomore from Hamilton, New Jersey. You feel like he's been hard done by in some of the breakdowns. There's not a whole lot he can do. He's faced 43 shots. And after his team gave up 56 last night, they haven't really given him as much support as he would like. Just a couple of really tough breakdowns that have been put away, and they're in a whole lot more that can be said. He's made some good saves when he's had to, but no goalie wants to give up 8. And every goalie knows that the situation is tough as it is. More offensive zone time for Rhode Island, but TCNJ back on the puck. It's Walter who gets it ahead. He tried to slide that through to Gibson, but on the backhand, Beazle plays it back along as well. We talked about him earlier. The freshman season last year, now playing as a sophomore, he's just going to eat minutes on the blue line. That right, as this puck was touched with a high stick, and Anthony Archinaco, sophomore from Howell, New Jersey, number 28, had to go touch that in the corner. And we will get a face-off down here. 10:45 to go in period number 3. URI up 8-1 on TCNJ. Matthew Aaron, thank you for being with us on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. We will have much more to come. This is just the start, as you all know, of many, many great games to come from many places across club hockey landscape, and we're happy to be with you for another season of some great hockey to come. There is no question about that. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday with us. Last Saturday in September, chill's not yet in the air, so it's not quite hockey weather yet, but we're getting there. This is Jack Smith, who will work his way into the zone, and that is stopped by Hunt. And it took a big hit. The puck finds its way to Yadavea. And on ahead for Crane. Barlow will look his way into the slot, rolls on net. Mayer decides to cover up as we played a little more than half of period number 3. On the shots on goal, as you see, and our score bug, it's 44-34 URI. TCNJ haven't had, I think, the quality of shots that they would like, but they have gotten rubber towards James Hunt even if they have gone stretches where it's been one-way traffic in the offensive zone for a good chunk of it. Chinako tried to clear. It's sent back down low again. Alkowski will get it out. Thompson. And it get poked by him. Gregory did the work there. Nice little passing between Barlow and Gold to move their way through the neutral zone. Gaudioso. Chinako is shoulder to shoulder with him down in the corner. I think that's going to be a penalty. Yep. Could be a slashing penalty on Rhode Island. The one area where Joe Augustine is probably not going to be happy is the penalties. That is the 5th power play they have given up to TCNJ today. And Gaudioso will go for a slash. .5'11" forward from Morristown, New Jersey. So the power play for TCNJ, they've generated some looks, but they lose the faceoff and it's cleared all the way around the boards and down. And so they'll have to try to work to get set up here. There have been opportunities. There's no question about that for the Lions on this power play. And now, Jakob having trouble breaking free of that pressure from Mulhern, who is forechecking way up in the zone. And that forced a tough pass, trying to get it to Gregory. But now, with Duggan, they're able to get in the offensive zone. Duggan forced to back off. And that's back with Gregory. Jakob sends it down low. That's intercepted and cleared by the combination of Gold and Lockwood. Jakob picks his head up. Definitely has smooth skating ability. Gets into the offensive zone there against Crane. Trying to circle the net. That's not cleared. Gregory picks it up at the point. Scarmato will send it down low. Duggan with some room and some traffic. Trying to see if he could get that look towards the net he wants. Jakob now to the far wing. Gregory shoots. It's stopped by Hunt. Saw that the whole way and read very nicely. There are 48 seconds to go on the power play. TCNJ staring at a possible 0 for 5 on the power play. Something you want to take advantage of if you could get those opportunities. There's a nice redirect in the slot by Stout, but it was stopped by Hunt again. Hunt's played very well. Yadavea turned it over to Stout. And then that bank pass didn't connect with its intended target. Sear got by Walter. He's already got 4, and he shoots and he scores. He's got 5 goals in this game, and now he's added a shorthanded goal to that. Just blew by his man on the wing and then blew it by Mayer. Cam Sear, have yourself an afternoon, my friend, with 5 goals. And he scored them every which way, including now a natural hat trick. And it's 9-1 Rhode Island. And to go along with the good success on the penalty kill, they now have a shorthanded goal to go with it. Cam Sear, as we mentioned earlier, had 15 goals last season as a freshman. He's got a third of that today. Put towards the front, Hunt down, Greenspoon tried to tuck it in, and it just didn't make it over the line. Hunt was able to squeeze it. I thought that had a chance to go in off of Greenspoon. It was just him in front of the net, but just couldn't push it any further. And now we're going to get a goaltending change. And Ethan May, who played last night, is going to come in to finish the rest of this one. They just take Nathan Mayer out for, I think, just relief reasons. Poor guy's given up 9 goals. And May, who played last night, was dressed as the backup, who was excellent, is going to finish out the rest of the game. Ethan May, sophomore from Bradford, Ontario. As we mentioned, 52 saves on 56 shots last night. And he comes in a little bit of mop-up duty as it's 9-1. That shot deflected off a man in front. Helkowski And that's deflected off a stick. That was Korobko trying to get that one towards the net, and out of play it goes. Couldn't have been much better afternoon for Rhode Island, you have to say. And they score 9 goals, play the kind of game they've played. After giving up the first goal to score 9 in a row, Cam Sear to have a hat trick, plus 5 goals, a natural hat trick day he's never going to forget. Helkowski trying to get position on Thompson. Thompson shoves him to the boards. Helkowski gives him a shove back. And Bofilio comes in to try to rip the puck away, and eventually the Rams come away with it. Nomovs will work his way in. Sicked along by May. Puck was left there for a second. That allows Archinako to come and pick it up. May will glide through the zone. And his shot is stopped again by Hunt. Nicely saved. Loose at the side. That's thrown out in front. Almost found. Scarmato, who is in front of the net. Chinako tried to get it through. It was blocked. 5:45 to go in the third period. 9-1 Rhode Island. Archinako on the wall for May. Kushner along. And Valenti kind of slided along to his defense partner, Gold, but he wasn't able to find it. Back up high, Walter shoots, and another save for Hunt. 40 shots, according to the trackers here at TSAI Field House for TCNJ. And they've only been able to get one behind Hunt, who has been excellent this afternoon. Truly excellent. Good problem to have, a couple of goalies running hot. And that seems to be what Joe Augustine might have in terms of a dilemma as the season goes on, as they play conference games against Villanova at home next week. 5:10 to go in the third. Lockwood working his way up the wing. Ends up losing the puck, where Smith finds it. Little chip and chase to get it out. Again with Gilligan, he'll send it in. And May decides to freeze and then play it before the freeze comes in. Worked hard less than 24 hours ago to put up the performance he did, that's for sure. However, that's mop-up duty here. Just to give Mayer a bit of a break. He gives up 9 goals, and how many of them are his fault? Not many. Some of the breakdowns we've seen. Some of the goal scoring today from Rhode Island has just been, they've been opportunistic. They've gotten themselves into quiet spots on the ice where there's open ice to attack, and they've attacked it. Now with 4 minutes to go, CNJ will, as we said earlier in the period, going to lick their wounds and try to figure out where they go from here, as they've got a home and home with William Patterson coming next week. The road game is Friday, and the Saturday game is right back here at TSAI Field House. Said Villanova for 2 home games coming up next weekend for Rhode Island as they get into their conference play. It's a big conference. This ECHA, Lehigh, Temple, Nova, Westchester, Towson, William Patterson, Drexel, NYU, George Mason, Navy, and the Rams. Big league, so you're playing a lot of games in conference, and those games are so important. And for them, it's good to get off to the start they've gotten off of, where they could build on some big confidence. And they've got players who are going to be exciting to watch for a very long time to come, the way this is going. Certainly been that kind of day. In the case of TCNJ, you hope it's not that kind of season after last year going 6-22-1. Rhode Island went 23-10-2. So for Rhode Island, they're just trying to pick up where they left off, a team that loses some key seniors, but some of the players that they have back, there is talent to go around. 3 minutes to go. Valenti will send it ahead. Puck loose behind the net before TCNJ will start the breakout with Stout. He gets taken off the puck along the boards by Reese. A lot of good players today for Rhode Island. I think everybody can keep their head held high, even if, you know, you're not having a Cam Sear afternoon. I don't think many people can have afternoons like that. 5 goals, natural hat trick, and the rest. But a lot of good players for URI, a lot of players to be excited about for a team that's got big dreams this year. Play like they do today, they're going to achieve many of them. They'll get to 2-0 with a combined 13-2 score against TCNJ, who will fall to 0-5. Their first 3 games were very, very close. This game was pretty close. The one yesterday was pretty close. So it looked like we were going to have a different kind of story today for TCNJ with that early goal, but then the Rams just kept the puck in the offensive zone. They kept pumping chances, and they took advantage of them. After a turnover, here's Duggan. Can TCNJ get something for their trouble? Not there. The shot was deflected over the top. Trying to get it into the slot there to Kushner, but it wouldn't connect. There's a lot of this that's happened in the offensive zone. Just that last pass, that final play, not connecting. Walter will go back along with Archie Nako, but this will be icing with 1:18 to go in the period. Offensive zone draw with 78 seconds left in proceedings. Rhode Island scrambling off. They've been good off faceoffs today, too. And they've won a lot of draws, and it's set themselves up in a very nice position most of the time. Now I've got a minute to go. To say thank you to all of the incredible people at Breakout Sports Broadcasting for helping put this one together. It's a busy time of year, a lot of games to do. They've got another one later tonight, but this is a great crew, and we thank you all for watching and supporting the great work that they do, and to watch some fun club hockey. Many choices you have on a Saturday afternoon in September. We're happy you chose this for at least a part of it. Remember, Ryder tonight, 7:30 Eastern, Breakout Sports Broadcasting. You'll be able to watch more club hockey, and it will be a good game. There's no question about that. Archinako goes back to get it. As Walter pushes it up the wall. It's going to roll down wide of the net. Gold goes to get it. And that's going to be just about it. Matthew Aaron, I thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon. Even if the game wasn't super competitive, we had a lot of fun with Cam Sear, those 5 goals, and so much more. The Rams win it 9-1, scoring the final 9 goals of the game. Thank you so much for being a part of it for our entire crew. Once again, I'm Matthew Aaron. Have a great rest of your day.